and punishment, punishment and crime. Future!
What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. David Cronenberg has a new movie in theaters. It's Crimes of the Future. We're going to talk about it. So humans adapt to a synthetic environment with new transformations and mutations. With his partner Caprice, Saul, celebrity performance artist, publicly showcases the metamorphosis of his organs in performances. This is a crazy premise. Just to start with the rating like we always do, it is rated R, no surprise there, for strong, disturbing, violent content and grisly, not grizzly bear, grisly images, graphic nudity, and language. The cast is amazing. Leah Seydoux as Caprice, Viggo Mortensen as Saul. These are our two characters that we're focused on for the most part. They have a fascinating relationship, and as humans evolve into the future that we see, the way that a relationship, whether that be romantically or otherwise, is handled, well, they go about it in such a different way. So we're basically learning everything we need to know. Well, a lot of things, not everything, that we need to know through these two characters, and they are played expertly. Viggo has this like haunting sense about him, traveling around all throughout this film in this cloak. And then you have Caprice, who is essentially the heart and soul of the film. Now, not heart and soul in the sense of what it would normally mean in a non-David Cronenberg film, but you will see as you go, you are really emotionally drawn towards her character, and I would argue that she may be the only one in the film that really delivers on an emotional attachment. We'll get back to that. Other characters include Kristen Stewart's character, Scott Speedman, who plays Lang. Let me tell you, Scott Speedman is amazing in this film, as is Stewart. Even though I had questions about the inclusion of some of these characters, I understood their role, but I wanted to know more about them and more of what their goal, their mission was, and why they were in the position they were in the first place. I would include both of those characters in that category. And really the cast as a whole, there's not much to complain about here. I did feel emotionally distant from a few of their characters, but none of that comes down to their performances. It comes much more so down to the script and how these characters are presented to us in the first place, each of their roles in the movie. And being presented with this information, there's a lot to learn about this world. You see it in the trailer. Is surgery the new sex? Austin, what the heck does that mean? I feel like some people watching this movie, by the way, in my theater, did not watch the trailer, because when we finally got that on screen, I heard a lot of gasps, and one couple got up and walked out. I understand a general audience member walking out of this movie. When you look at the Cannes Film Festival and word of a lot of people walking out, my question is, most of those people being press, what did you expect watching a David Cronenberg? What? Huh? Were you just bored? I guess I could understand more so you being bored, but even then, I feel like going to that festival, whether you're press or just an audience member that found a ticket, walking out of a film, especially this film, right? Because this movie doesn't necessarily push the boundaries on that level. It's much more so focused on body horror. That crazy imagery, blood-filled, gore-filled. They're cutting into organs and body parts, and at one point, or really the whole third act of this movie, everything is building up to a moment, but even that moment for me, the body horror aspect never unnerved me like I expected, and I'm one, I don't like blood, I don't even like needles. I passed out on an elevator once, and I watched this movie, I'm like, it wasn't that shocking. It was pretty shocking, though. I guess from that aspect, personally, it was tougher to watch because I struggle with things that go to that level, but I got through it. It's Cronenberg. I was hoping he would do crazy things. Like, the only thing that bothered me personally was something happening to a child. Granted, special effects, practical effects, all of those things are used, but that made me a little too uncomfortable. But I can't count that against the movie because that's basically the entire idea. Getting to see how these people live their lives, this celebrity performance artist showcasing everything happening to this character's organs, learning how they operate, and then seeing it and soaking in some of these practical effects. The character that has their mouth sewn together and all of the various ears. I'm watching this going, it looks incredible. From a cinematography standpoint, there are a couple of shots. Overall, it's good, right? But there are one or two shots in here that I thought were just beautiful, framed so expertly. And with a director of this caliber, a movie like this is going to work on that level. My biggest hesitation with this film is the story itself, and leaving out elements that I feel like would have taken my interest so much higher than what it actually was, because I will not lie to you, about halfway through this film, I was struggling with seeing where it was going, and anytime we would get a new idea or concept introduced, they would just kind of skim over it. We would see how certain characters were living, one character in particular who becomes obsessed with surgery is the new sex, that concept, but we don't really know the why, and we never see it continue after that point. There are also organizations. Kristen Stewart's character, she is involved with this organization, and the way that she played this role, I found was really brilliant. I loved her, like, upbeat and extremely mysterious nature, but that organization that they are a part of, even though there are explanations given, the role in its entirety, it doesn't really go anywhere. It doesn't really go to a place that I felt satisfied with at the ending. And then the two characters that we start out with, not our lead characters, we start out with two, they're given roles throughout the film, and then something happens to one of them where I sat back, scratched my head, and said, I'm still not entirely sure what the motivations there were and the role of everything. And those questions are asked even by the characters that we're following. But then the movie ends. And granted, the ending itself ends in a place that I was not expecting, but there were so many characters and groups of characters and storylines that felt just completely cut off at the end of this film, and it cuts to credits. And I'm sitting back going, conceptually, I love it. I love that Cronenberg is pushing the visual boundaries, and a movie that takes chances like this one, I can appreciate way more so than something bland. But the story has to come together, and you have to make sure every element fits. Don't want exposition, maybe handle it in a different way, but I didn't even get that. And when the film ended and it cut to credits, I did feel a huge just, wow, that was disappointing, to the point to where I said, did I enjoy that, or was I as invested as I wanted to be? Because I don't know if I was. Before I give you guys my score, stay tuned. We have plenty more reviews to come on this channel. Adam Sandler's brand new movie, Hustle. And if you like this video, let me know. Drop that thumbs up. Crimes of the Future is creative and visually fulfilling. The cast is excellent, and the ideas presented feel so original. That being said, certain plot points go nowhere, and almost every supporting character feels emotionally distant. It never fully delivered for me. I understand I'll get some pushback on this one, unpopular opinion, but my score is a 52%. I'm kind of right down the middle. I wasn't fully into it, but I can really appreciate the elements, and again, the practical effects are spectacular. I still really respect Cronenberg as a filmmaker, and if you love his filmography, you're probably going to find a lot to love with this movie. All right, you guys are the best. Appreciate you for watching. Stay tuned. More reviews to come.